The U.S. and China reached an agreement on a Phase 1 trade deal today, and President Trump says Phase 2 negotiations will begin immediately. NBC's Dasha Burns talked to the owner of a manufacturing plant, who was hit by China's retaliatory tariffs early this year.
We export a fair amount of our product into other countries. China is one of those, where we actually build it in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and ship it to China.
So what happened there?
Well, our product was one of those products listed in their retaliatory tariff. For all practical purposes, the Chinese market is closed to us. The retaliatory tariff on top, which is in our case was 15%.
15%?
15%. There's no way that we can overcome that cost barrier at the moment.
So you just have to write it off.
So we just write it out, and that's a challenge.
Are there other places in the world that you're exporting to that you're concerned about?
Our two largest export markets, Canada and Mexico. And of course, we decided to rip up NAFTA. And
yeah, I mean, what does that unpredictability mean for you and for these employees here?
What I think is failed to be realized by, whether it's the Trump administration or the Congress or whatever, is if we're in an unpredictable environment, then we behave more cautiously. And there is a slowing that happens in the economy when companies start becoming risk adverse. I think that's lost in our friends in D.C. They don't get that.
And Dasha's here with me now on set. Dasha, we don't know all the details of the trade deal, but how does a trade deal like this impact someone like Bob?
Well, I called our friend Bob up this morning to ask him that exact question.
I love it.
And he told me he is cautiously optimistic about this news. Selling to the Chinese market is a pretty important part of their business, especially for their long-term business. So this is good potentially, but of course the devil is in the details, and we just don't know those details yet. He does say that this is progress for him as far as he sees it, and he's hopeful that because the talks have been positive, that retaliatory tariff on his product will be lifted as part of the deal. Because he's basically been blocked from China, though, I asked him how quickly he could be back in business there. He said he has been staying in touch with his contacts in the region. He just hasn't actually been able to do anything with them. So he could be back in action pretty quickly if things go as he hopes they will go. He also told me, though, that he's been encouraged by the USMCA vote that's coming up in the House next week.
Yeah, that's a biggie, too.
He's just excited to see that there's appetite and momentum around doing more for American businesses and American workers. But as you heard there, the unpredictability of this climate is always a concern for him.
So this issue is twofold, especially for someone like Bob, right? It's an economic issue because it's impacting your business, but then it's also a political issue, and it's affecting how a lot of people will decide to vote and their views of the candidates and the parties involved. What did Bob have to say about all that?
Well, Bob's an interesting case. First of all, he's in Michigan, swing state. All eyes on Michigan. We're going to be watching. He's also in Kent County, which is a politically important place. And Bob is a Republican, but he told me he doesn't really see that he has a home in today's Republican Party. And that's something that I've heard from a lot of Republican voters in that Grand Rapids area, actually. He says, especially when it comes to fiscal responsibility, he feels like the GOP has really strayed from its traditional principles, and he's not really a huge fan of Donald Trump. He agrees with some things, he disagrees with others. He doesn't love the tweets.
Does he still feel that way today, given the agreement?
Well, so the trade deal is important, and he does agree with Donald Trump that we needed to revamp these deals. And he says that Trump raised a legitimate issue, especially when it comes to China, but he doesn't necessarily agree with his tactics. He told me he wishes that Congress and past administrations had started working on this decades ago. Look, his is a business that relies on consistency and incremental change. And so he said the ideal way for him would have been if they started chipping away at this and step by step took measures to get a better deal for American businesses. Whereas he said right now he kind of sees that this is doing surgery with a chainsaw, as he put it to me. So he agrees that this should move forward, but not necessarily. This wasn't the best process, in his opinion. And on the other hand, he did say, though, that this week made him view both the president and Congress in somewhat of a better light because they actually are doing things.
Yeah, they got something done for him, right?
Even amid the chaos in Washington.
Oh, Dasha, it's so interesting. We're going to have to stay in touch with Bob and see what he says as things go on.
I'll be calling Bob a lot over the next year.
Yeah, we'll be following him when we hear about that Phase 2 deal. Dasha, thank you so much.
Thanks, Allison.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.